welcome back to With Honors, a special bonus edition on our conversation about taxes. It's one thing for a historian and a theologian to sit around and talk about taxes in the abstract, but today I wanted to bring in somebody who actually works with this stuff. So our guest is Matt Faulkner. Matt, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey, Mac, thanks for having me. I actually graduated here from the communication department in communication management back in 2002. Started a business, a boutique marketing firm, ran that for about 20 years, and currently serving as the mayor of Searcy.
So you worked as a small business owner, and now you're also a public servant in a executive position as the mayor of a city. So taxes has been something you've had to deal with kind of on both sides of things. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. From a small business owner standpoint, we have two businesses, or had two businesses. Now we still have one. One was an S Corp and the other is an LLC. So our marketing firm was an S Corp. And then we also own property downtown, and that's the LLC. So yeah, as a small business owner, you kind of see it from all the different angles.
When you were just in the business side of things, before you were running for office and serving in public service, how did you feel about taxes?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a necessary part of doing business and life. I would say I probably had a lesser understanding on what it meant from the municipal side locally. But yeah, from payroll taxes, and then you're paying taxes when you're buying equipment and when you're selling things. And so what's really the mind-blowing part is if you make any money, with your business, you're going to pay taxes on that. And so typically it always trickles down to the business owner eventually. And so my wife and I, we would have to pull money out of our business to pay our taxes, and then you're actually paying taxes on the money you pulled out of your business to pay the taxes. So it's a little bit mind-blowing, but it's just I guess a part of doing business.
Yeah, I think that I remember my very first job, I looked at my paycheck, and I was 16 years old working at McDonald's, and what's all this, like hundreds of dollars,
That's
like $136 something had been pulled up, and I was livid.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was telling my dad, I was like, they took all this money out of my check. And he didn't say to me, you're 16, you don't make much money, you're going to get that back at the end of the year. What he said was, well, what did they buy with it? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, think about it. What do you reckon they bought with it? So I think that's a valuable thing that a lot of people don't realize. They only encounter taxes when they're paying them, when they're coming out. Nobody likes paying for anything. People even like buying things, but don't like paying for it. We like free stuff. But if students today are looking around and they're saying, this money's coming out of my check, or it's going to come out of my check, as the mayor now, tell us, what are we buying with those taxes?
Yeah, first I think there's, education is important to understand exactly how taxes work and how they are increased. On the municipal level, mayor cannot increase taxes. And I think, there's a perception out there with some that a mayor can do that. That's not true. Really, a city council can vote to put it on the ballot, and then it's the public that votes, whether or not to increase taxes. We recently saw that here in Searcy through a master planning process. We listened as far as the municipal government on, hey, from the public, what is it that you envision? What do you want Searcy to be for tomorrow? And a whole bunch of projects, came out of all these engagement sessions and this master planning process. And at the very top were things like a community center and a water park and trail system. And so the next, question is, okay, this is what the public says that they would like to see as far as quality of life projects. But now how do you fund these things, right? And so then we engage with finance professionals and say, okay, how do we finance these types of projects? And there's various methods, and ultimately the public voted to approve a temporary half-cent sales tax that would go towards these projects and issue bonds to fund it. So that's just something to be educated about as far as local municipal taxes. I think what's important also to realize is that local municipal government is there to serve. right? We're there to provide safety. We're there to provide infrastructure. And so from your police and fire department to your streets and drainage, all of these necessary things to function a city and keep people safe, that's really where your taxes go.
Yeah, I think about if I want to drive to work and I don't want to have to plow through trees and drive on potholes or pay tolls every 5 minutes. Like if I think sometimes, what if all the roads in town were owned by local businesses? Like the gas stations are owned by local businesses and they set gas prices. What if the roads were owned by local businesses and they just decided, I don't know, let's just up the tolls. You want to come out of Country Club? Well, it costs quarter every time you drive by, or $1 or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example. And we actually see this type of a situation quite often, especially in older neighborhoods. So years ago, you may have a developer, and they put in a drainage system in their neighborhood. And then over the years, if there's not a POA or if it's not clearly defined where that easement lies, if that's the city's or the property owners, ultimately the property owners look to the city. So if there's drainage issues, and we see that all the time.
Yeah, the road that I live on had a washout 2 years ago, or no, last year, I guess. And we were all like, who's going to fix this?
Yeah.
Because it's none of our road, but it was getting bad enough. I mean, we wouldn't be able to get out. I was parking my truck down at my sister's house because I can't drive over that thing. And then some people from it was a county, because we live outside of city limits, showed up and repaired it. And it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the best job. They're waiting for it to settle and different things. But I also thought, man, that's great. What if I'd had to pay for that out of my pocket? And it was a case of, no, we were all working on this. Or I think about the way that fire departments originally worked. Of course, fire departments started out, they were private companies and you contracted with them. And very predictable things began to happen, and that is they would show up to your place where the fire was and say, now there's an extra fee if you want us to put this fire out. And things like all of us together owning this is good for all of us. In Searcy, what are some concrete projects that are going on? You mentioned trail systems, you mentioned parks. What are some things that we're doing locally right now that people can say, my tax dollars are going to that, and that's a great thing.
Yeah. One thing, again, just kind of looking at our history, for the longest time, Searcy just had a half cent as far as sales tax goes. And there was a temporary 1 cent tax that was going to sunset after 8 years. And then that was recently voted to be permanent. And so, I tell you what we're dealing with right now is trying to make up deferred maintenance all over town. So where the tax dollars currently go, you'll see this year we completed 25 streets with paving projects. We have drainage. We've created a drainage crew that just focuses on drainage, and they're killing it. They're getting all over town and fixing tons of drainage issues. But our facilities have had a lot of problems because there wasn't the funds to fix these things. But as far as the quality of life projects that are going on, we've broken ground on a new community center.
Big community. I mean, it's a big project out here.
$51 million project. That's right. But, when you think about taxes, everybody participates, right? And so that's one of the things that we think about is making sure that what we're doing touches as many people in the community as possible. So the community center is being designed and planned with programs for all ages and all abilities. And so that's typically what you'll see, the types of projects that cities do that's why you'll see park systems and trails, because anybody can use those things. An outdoor aquatic center, Riverside Park. We've got the trail system projects going on, improvements to Berry Hill, basketball courts, all kinds of things going on right now.
So many cool things. The trail system is one I'm super excited about. I love the bike trail over on the south side of town, but it's a little bit tricky to get onto it, a little tricky to get off. And so some of the proposals you guys have to make that more available is going to make a big difference for Harding students who want a safe place to bike, jog, go for a walk with friends. It's really going to be transformative in that way, I think.
Yeah, so it's not just for recreation, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's actually an alternative transportation network. So you think about individuals that maybe they don't have a car. Students may come to college here at Harding and not have a vehicle, but if they have a scooter or bicycle bicycle or if they want to walk or jog, an alternative trail network is what's going to make those connections safely. So we have several underpasses that are going to be constructed so you can go underneath Ray Street and BB Caps and Main Street. But yeah, it's not just taxes though. Like you can only get so far, right? And so Searcy recently hired also a grants coordinator, and that has been just huge as far as finding alternative funding sources. So we're able to accomplish a lot more in shorter period of time because you have revenue coming in from multiple sources.
So those grants that you guys write, some of those come from private organizations, or are they mostly government grants?
I would say most of them are going to be government grants, whether that's state or federal.
So that means that we are getting a grant from the state or federal government, which gets their money from?
Yeah, from taxes. There you go.
So I think we can see it easy at the local level, but even beyond that, I think about things like how our local life is benefited from the people in town who pitch in and help, and lots of the things we do we couldn't do without all of us getting in there, and pitching in and doing things. Like I think about, Get Down Downtown and some of those events that are really great. But also if we weren't relying on people we don't even know, our neighbors in Fort Smith and Bentonville, from who we're getting grant money from our state government, or people in Oregon and California and New York from whom we're getting federal tax dollars through federal grants. If everyone just said, well, I'll just give locally to nonprofits, whether it's churches or whatever, it seems like our life together as a community would really suffer.
Well, yeah, I mean, that only goes so far, and you kind of see that. I would say this, Searcy has a fantastic heart as far as a community goes, and I think we've really seen that here recently when we had, the federal shutdown and the loss of SNAP programs. Churches and nonprofits really rallied together, but honestly...
Even this community here, we took up, did some things.
Absolutely, but I mean, those types of efforts, they don't sustain all the needs, that it requires to have a safe and healthy community. Another thing, especially when you're even thinking about like quality of life projects, the trickle-down effect is economic development. So when you're thinking about attracting professors or physicians to Searcy, or students or new manufacturers, I mean, they're...
Restaurant owners?
Yeah.
Please.
There you go. I mean, they're thinking about, hey, where do we want to move to, invest in, and relocate our family to. Mm-hmm. And a large part of that is going to hinge on quality of life. And so that ends up, coming back around full circle.
Yeah, and that seems like it relates to everything from the parks, the community center, the library. The new library is so great. But also things like, is this a safe place to live? Do we have adequate police protection? Do we have adequate lighting on the streets? Are the fire codes up to date? What about are there good zoning laws to keep in place? Seems like it's easy to criticize the government, and there's always plenty of things to criticize in the government, and everybody knows that. Nobody better than people who work in it. But it also seems like to me that if people only take this critical attitude, a kind of individualistic, this is mine, I don't want to share, that they miss out on the way that if we lived, we're social creatures and we live together, and when we all participate, all of us benefit from that. Like you're saying, whether it's downstream with the trickle-down stuff, or it's better schools, which leads to better employees in the future, so forth and so on. Take a little bit of a long view, and it seems like the shared governance and the shared financial responsibilities are pretty important.
Yeah, there's definitely things in place that help ensure transparency and accountability. And I think especially with municipal local government, I mean, the proximity is so close, especially in a smaller community. I mean, so you can walk right into City Hall anytime, and talk to our clerk treasurer, or talk to myself or our city planner, come to the council meetings or watch them streamed on Facebook or YouTube. And I would encourage people to do that, to be a part. So instead of just making assumptions or necessarily being critical, and I understand that, as far as the critical questions, but I think being educated and understanding how it all works, and just knowing that we are truly here to serve. We want what's best for everybody's families, including our own. And I would say that our departments, I mean, they're very frugal, with the funds that they have. And so you can't say that all the time when you get to state and federal levels. That's, further proximity, maybe a little bit harder to be that engaged, but locally, absolutely, I say come on and ask questions and have a good conversation.
Well, I appreciate you coming in today, and hopefully our students will be a little bit better educated and a little bit better prepared to engage in the works that we're doing here in the community.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matt.